Boy. Hi there, Angelo John Lewis for the Sacred Inclusion Network, and I'm here with Jami Sieber, who is a classically trained, independent, I'll call her cellist. She's been involved in the music industry for a long time, many genres, and in the recent years, she's been a solo artist, and she's done a lot of collaborations with a lot of people. And the one we're going to be spotlighting in particular is one that she did with her colleague, Kim Rosen, called Feast of Losses. And we're hopping online here to do a kind of a preview for a February 18th event that she's going to do around the album and around the subject of grief and losses. Jami, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, good morning, Angelo. So great to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess this is a broad question. You're a musician, you play lots of music, and here's one that you're doing about grief and losses, which is, it's not the usual pop.
It's not top 40, definitely.
No. So maybe you could just sort of tell me why you and Kim started to do this.
Well, thank you for asking that. Kim, it was Kim Rosen's idea. Kim is a poet and an author of a book, Saved by a Poem, which is really an incredible book if someone was looking into wanting to take a deep dive into poetry and how it can influence and change your life. But we've been working together for about 20 years, and she came to me about a year ago and said, I want to do this album around grief, loss, aging, death. And, for both of us, we have lost our parents. She lost both her parents. I lost my dad in the last 10 years. And then, of course, with COVID. And, we have all experienced such huge losses, as well as just the grief of watching all of the loss on TV or in the radio or in the news or in our friends' families. It's unavoidable right now. So when she asked me to do this, it was for me an easy leap to want to create music for the poetry that she had collected. And what we came up with was almost 2 albums worth. And this is our first album that's being released called Feast of Losses. And it features the poems of Langston Hughes, Stanley Kunitz, Ellen Bass, Marie Howe, Lucille Clifton, Mary Oliver, W.S. Merwin, Mark Nepo, just remarkably life-changing poems.
The thing that I should say that my mother died in the beginning of the pandemic. And, as probably many people that are listening to this, we've all, we've seen death. We've seen people that are close to us or people who at least we've heard about. But in most cases, I think most people probably know somebody that's died, during the pandemic. And, it occurs to me that in our culture, we don't really, we don't dwell on loss, right? We don't even process it really. We go to the funeral. Maybe we think about it. If it's someone close to us, obviously we're processing it for the rest of our lives. But in general, it seems to me that we don't really talk about it or really, do too much with it. And, it just seems that music is the thing that you're offering is a good way to help people process grief.
That was our intention, is that you're right in saying that our culture just does not encourage the exploration of our grief and loss, which is uncanny because the truth is through expressing and exploring it, we find our connection to each other and we find our way out of isolation when we realize that all of us share in this grief. All of us are losing. I mean, there's COVID, but then there's all the other illnesses that have been going on, regardless of it. So it's it's really important, and it takes us into sacred territory
Yes.
when we explore it with those we love.
Mm.
And that's our intention with this album, is to bring communities of friends and families together and do a deep listening and see what that listening evokes, and what reflections come forth.
I think it might be appropriate to play a couple of tracks from the album, and maybe we'll talk about some of the themes that at least come up for both of us. So the floor is yours.
Great. We're going to share Island, which is a poem by Langston Hughes, and it is how the album starts out. And the other poem is The Thing Is, and that is by Ellen Bass.
Wave of sorrow, do not drown me now. I see the island, still ahead somehow. I see the island, and its sands are fair. Wave of sorrow, take me there. Wave of sorrow, do not drown me now. I see the island, still ahead somehow. I see the island, and its sands are fair. Wave of sorrow, take me there. The thing is to love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands. Your throat filled with the silt of it. When grief sits with you, its tropical heat thickening the air, heavy as water, more fit for gills than lungs. When grief waits you, like your own flesh, only more of it, an obesity of grief. You think, how can a body stand this? Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes. And you say, yes, I will take you. I will love you again. You hold life like a face. Between your palms, a plain face. No charming smile, no violet eyes. And you say, yes, I will take you. I will love you again.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. That was Langston Hughes,
Mm.
Island, and Ellen Bass, The Thing Is, and Kim Rosen reciting the poetry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot one could say. I guess the thought that I have is it's like having a loss is not a linear thing, you know. I think some people, when they, you know, they have a divorce or they have a loss or something like that, it's like, you know, the pop psychology says you should just get over it, just move on, but it's always with you, you know. Anyway, I don't know how relevant it is from listening to that, but that was the thought that was going through my mind when I was listening to that.
Well, that's why, I mean, this album is not an album that you put on and clean your house to. It's that, you know, it's like, you know, it's almost like you have to go into that slow, still space, you know, because exploring grief does not happen in the moments in between doing things. It's like,
No.
it's when it's when you really slow down and when you're able to open yourself up. And that's why music and poetry is so great, because it has a way of engaging and disengaging the mind and heart in a way that that opens up to new explorations and new patterns of thought and feeling.
So speaking of explorations, you're going to be facilitating you and Kim on February 18th with my help. What do you want people to get out of it? What would we do? What would you like? What would you like people to get out of it?
Well, first off, we're really excited to have met you, Angelo, and also to jump into this exploration that you've been providing for communities. You know, what we would like to do, what we're hoping to do, is to create a sanctuary of listening where we can come together. And, you know, Kim and I will introduce the album, we'll introduce ourselves and put forth some ideas as to how best to listen, to go into that deep listening space. And then we'll play about 20 to 30 minutes of the album and just let that be a guide. Let it be a journey. Let yourself enter into that sanctuary of sound and feeling and poetry. And then we'll come out of that half hour and Kim will lead a writing exercise of reflection, and hopefully, depending on how many people, at least a few may, if people are wanting to share, they can share, or if you just want to hold it, you know, within yourself, that's okay too. But I think it's that idea of creating a sanctuary of exploring and sharing in our common loss, our common grief, and our common humanity.
Not much to add other than you know, I'll post a link to it, and hopefully you'll join us. I think it's going to be very special. We've never done anything like this within Sacred Inclusion Network, and I'm really looking forward. The only thing we did a guy did sound healing thing, which is interesting, but this is, I think, going to be a little deeper. And so
Yeah, I mean, this really is. I think part of the healing really is also to experience it within a group.
yes,
We've been holding these deep listening gatherings of like 10 to 15 people, and it's just profound what happens when you listen deeply without interruptions, without distractions, and and just allow yourself to go on a journey.
Yeah, I like that. It's just something that we know it's a grief. We know what the personal grief is, but there's something about the community, which I don't know, makes us feel at home or something. It's nurturing in a different way.
No, it really is. You know, I was touring many years ago in the Balkans right after the wars there. And there were three of us gathered. We were improvisational artists, and our performances were inspired by conversations with women who had experienced the war and the rebuilding of their country since the wars. And one of the women, she asked, "What do you feel like we have in common?"
Mm.
And we said, "Our grief," you know, and it was clear that, you know, we weren't living through war, but we were living through grief. We had experienced deep grief and loss, and that is a bond. That's a shared experience that gives us compassion, that gives us insight, if we allow ourselves to learn.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to post a link to the event, and perhaps a link to the actual album, that if you would like to purchase it. I've been listening to it. It's wonderful. And I hope you'll join us on the 18th of February, 11 o'clock
Great.
Eastern
Great.
Standard Time.
Yes. 8 a.m.
Yes.
Pacific time, which is where I am and Kim is. And also,
Uh,
just so people know, we are not streaming the album for a while. At this moment, you can't listen to it on Spotify or all of those things. We are, it's only available through the website.
That's right. And this will be a once in a lifetime event. So I hope you will join us.
That's right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jami.
Thank you so much, Angelo. And we'll see you on the 18th again.
Yes.
Take care.